SalesGRID is all about helping sales teams codify best practices for how they close big deals. When we talk to different sales teams, most sales teams will say, okay, we've got a sales process, but the sales team is still winging it on big deals. And the reason for that is going from a marketing qualified lead to a successful close one situation. It's pretty challenging in this space. You've got many steps you've got to navigate. You've got a lot of stakeholders. You've got to drive a buyer consensus on the customer side. But even on the sales team side, you've got many team members that need to be involved in the process, not just in the sales team, but potentially marketing, other players as well. Like every deal looks different. And finally, you've got a lot of content and messaging that you need to convey to the buyer to facilitate the deal. And the reality is that tools like Salesforce might be great at measuring, tracking, recording pipeline, but they don't actually actively help the salespeople, the sales team navigate these big deal cycles. And so what we're all about here at SalesGRID is really providing a solution for sales teams where they can actually embed their sales process, their sales playbook in their day-to-day workflow in a way that's dynamic, not a static document, and in a way that actually integrates not only the what they've got to do, but actually how they do it. So both the sales process and the methodology embedded in their workflow in a dynamic database. And what we're doing with SalesGRID is we're actually embedding that as a companion to Salesforce. If you think about Salesforce, you have different stages. You might have 5, 6, 7, 8 stages defined in your pipeline in Salesforce for your opportunity management. What we do at SalesGRID is that we've got this concept of a playbook. Some people think of playbooks in different ways. The way we define a playbook is it's really an end-to-end system from taking you from MQL through to close one. And the playbook is made up of a number of steps. It could be 1, 2, or 3 or more steps in each stage. When you know the key events or deliverables that need to be actioned successfully in each stage of your pipeline. And then against each step, what we do as part of this whole system is you can define for each step, what is the objective from a buyer point of view? What are the exit criteria that need to be met to successfully complete this step? What are the key actions? What are the mandatory things that need to be executed every time on a step? But also, what are the optional things? So what's the nuance? What are the things that you might do in a particular type of situation for a particular type of buyer persona or a particular vertical situation? And then finally, what are the skills you need to master to actually be able to execute best practice on this step in the playbook? This applies to all the stages in your playbook. Crucially, what we then do, apart from mapping all this out in a dynamic way that's embedded in the day-to-day workflow, we then integrate the content system with this playbook. So what makes SalesGRID different from other enablement solutions is, sure, we've got a great content management system, but it's fully integrated with all these elements of creating best practice in your sales playbook that's lined up to all your stages in Salesforce or stages if you're using different CRM. We're going to have a look at how the product looks and what we're actually building out over the next couple of months so you can launch an amazing playbook at your kickoff in 2023. Imagine you're a salesperson, you're working in a sales team, and probably two of the most common questions salespeople ask when it comes to enablement is, where do I find stuff? There's so much content, information, how to do stuff. Where do I find it? And secondly, how do I actually execute the sales process? Even for established people, really trying to understand how to navigate these really big deals can be very tricky. And so SalesGRID's all about solving for that. And we have these two tabs up here, content and playbook in particular. When we talk about execution, we're going to focus on insights and activity as well as the playbook companion. For this demo, we're focusing on firstly the content. SalesGRID has a really powerful content system, as you'd expect. You can load up all types of files, PowerPoint, text, Word, Excel, links to Google Drive, PDFs, case studies, the whole lot. You've got custom tagging. I can pick up a file here. I can view it in line. I can download it, share it. Everything you'd expect. This video is not about trying to talk too much about the detail there. Needless to say, we have a really strong content system that's great for sales enablement if you're looking for a content system. But what's really important about SalesGRID, what's really unique and potentially has enormous power is this idea of then integrating all that content with your end-to-end system for how you sell. And we call that system a playbook. As you can see here, the playbook, at the top level, we map it out in terms of the stages and then the steps in each stage. So to be really clear, here we've got 5 stages, but you could have 6, 7, 8, 9. In Salesforce, you can add stages, you can change the order, you can move everything around. It's really easy to manage, totally tailor it to your process. Crucially, against each stage, you then have these steps, like I said. And so under proposal accepted here, that could be a stage. Build consensus and then present a winning proposal is 2 steps against that stage. The next level is you're now making it clear to the salesperson. These are the key things, the key steps you need to navigate. And you're going to have to get really good at being able to execute these steps. The next question is, or for example, how do I present a winning proposal here at Acme Corporation? What's awesome about SalesGRID is every step you can then map out. Firstly, what's the objective of the step? What's the key purpose of this step? You can embed information around presentations, for example, provide more information about what's the purpose from a buyer's journey point of view, what's the purpose from the vendor's point of view, define the objective, then define the execute criteria. These are the key results we need to tick off to know that we've successfully completed this step. So that's great. But then where it gets really powerful is then actually specifying what are the actions that we need to execute on a step. So to present a winning proposal, you might say that if you're going to present a winning proposal, you need to first prepare a tailored demonstration. You're not just going to rock up and do a boilerplate demo or prezzo. You might then rehearse the presentation and demonstration with your team. That's in orange because maybe that's an optional thing because maybe you only do that on particular types of really large, super large deals, for example. But then, confirm the logistics for the meeting, the must-do checklist for running the meeting, and the wrap email. You can specify what does best practice look like for how we present a winning proposal here in our sales team. It's more than just a list of things to do. This is a dynamic system embedded, fully integrated for your content. If I click on how to prepare a tailored demonstration, then spells out here are the 4 key things I need to be doing to prepare a really good tailored demonstration. And by the way, here's a little video that's embedded in here. This is some external content. And this external content on how to give great product demos, but this could be your own internal content, could be training content. And this is just one example of how you can be really clear about what have you got to do? How do you do that? Again, if you think about it in your organization, you'd have a lot of this content, how to do stuff, what to do, but it's in G Drive. It's all over the place. It's in people's heads or whatever. SalesGRID is all about getting that in the one place so people can really follow the guardrails of what best practice looks like. Furthermore, I can flip through this playbook. So as you can see, you can literally go through each step in the playbook. If I were to go to the next step, drive the negotiation process, this is another way of thinking about it. To do a really good negotiation, you've got to first plan for the negotiation. You don't just rock up and hit up the negotiation. You've got to plan for it. You need to ask great questions. You need to make concise and precise proposals. You need to employ the use of silence in the meeting. This is just a way of thinking about how to negotiate. Under ask great questions, you could then have a list of the sorts of questions that are relevant to your business that might be really good questions to ask in a negotiation. And then you can have related content again, tips, videos of really good meetings where there's been negotiation. Going back to our previous step here, we've got an example here of embedded best practice content. You'll also have related content against each action as well. For example, a meeting wrap email, you might have examples, email cards here that show examples of really good emails to wrap a meeting with it and a case study attached and so on. That's fundamentally what SalesGRID's all about. Define best practice in your playbook. Integrate everything with a content system. So salespeople know exactly where to find stuff and they know exactly what to do and then how to do it. In our follow-up videos, we'll show you concepts around then how to master best practice and how to execute best practice and how to view it all, manage it all inside Salesforce. In summary, SalesGRID's all about getting everything together in the one place for your sales playbook. You've got sales process documentation, you've got hundreds of files, content, best practice tips. It's all been built over the years, or a lot of it's been built. And yet it's really hard to actually step salespeople through it, whether they're new people or even well-established people. SalesGRID helps you get it all together in the one spot, define, codify best practice in a dynamic way that's then embedded in the workflow of the salesperson or the sales team, and an ongoing investment in best practices in your playbook. This is not just a one-off thing. You're going to keep building it over time. And ultimately, it's going to boost your ROI in Salesforce because you've got this amazing playbook that's at their fingertips inside Salesforce. It's pretty awesome. Give us a contact. We'll reach out and we'll set up a time to talk more about your sales process and methodology and how maybe SalesGRID can help in 2023.